Hello everyone, Jeff here for Respawn Studios, and I'm going to be trying out a new series. You probably, if you follow our channel, know I've been playing a crap ton of Hearthstone lately. Um, I'm not one of the legend rank players by any means, but I think I am getting way better in the few weeks I've been playing. And so I wanted, because this is a free-to-play game, you just go to playhearthstone.com. It's totally free, you never have to buy anything. You can buy card packs. It's on the shop. 2 packs for $3, 40 packs for $50. That's all you can get. You can't buy specific cards, anything like that. Sorry. But you don't have to. You also get gold in game. You see I have 95 right now. You get it from completing challenges. So a daily challenge today is worth 60. There's a new daily challenge. There are also milestone challenges. One is to get all basic cards, which means get every hero to at least level 10. And you get 100 gold for that. You get 100 gold for your first 100 victories, I think. And I think for 500, something like that. You see I have 523 in play mode. So you can get gold. You also get 10 gold for every win you have. And another great thing to do, if you're not as familiar with Hearthstone, or maybe you are, the arena. You can, again, pay $2 or use just 150 gold and you get into the arena. In the arena, you make a constructed deck. You pick one of 3 heroes, and then there will be a choice of 3 cards. You pick one of those 3 cards, then they show you another 3. And you keep picking cards till you reach your 30. So it can get pretty insane. Because if there's a card you like and you've already picked 3 of it, they'll keep showing you that card. So you can get 5 of the same card in a deck. Where otherwise in a constructed deck you can only have 2 of the same card. But the purpose for this first video is I want to show people how to construct decks. Now, really quick, I want to also show you a different resource. Let me bring this up. I thought I already had it up. I'm sorry, one sec. Alright, so here we go, hearthstone.com. I mean, there's a lot of different sites out there. I think this, it's part of Curse, the sport organization. I think Team Liquid has their own section for Hearthstone, but this is really, really, really well done. You see popular decks. Reynad is a big streamer. He's alright. Icy Winds. Mage aggro decks. They identify the type of deck. There's aggro, there's control, there's late game. You get okay, someone reached legendary rank with this deck apparently, etc., etc. This is all decks. You can go by that and then sort by how many times it's been upvoted. You can see how much dust it costs to create that. And if you don't know what dust means, let's take you back to Hearthstone for a second. And let's go to my collection. When you go up here, you click on crafting mode, and you have dust down here. Instead of the gold, it now displays dust. What that means is when you open cards, you can't break down cards you get just for the standard cards you start with. But when you start getting packs of cards, you'll see these symbols. White is common, blue is uncommon, rare is purple, and then legendary is orange. So if you right click on it, you can go to disenchant, so you get 20 dust, or you can create one for 100 dust. Okay. You can only have 2 of each card, and if you make a deck with 2 of that card, it doesn't mean you can only have them in that one deck. You could use those 2 cards in any deck. So that's a lot of the basics. I'm going to take you back to Hearthstone for 1 second. Then you can sort this by your hero. So I don't know how many of you now watching this video are familiar with people that play Hearthstone or stream it a lot. Any of the pro players. I know it's just started. It was just officially released. It was in beta for a long time. There have already been some tournaments with some big prizes, but I'm sure it'll get way bigger now that it's officially out. A lot of people use Hunter to get to Legendary. Hunter or Warlock. Now, I hate both of those decks, but I'm going to show you their styles. You see, pretty much any of these have very low dust cost. And why is that? Because the Hunter cards themselves are insane. and you really don't have to like think to use them. Now here it's simplified. Sometimes people go really in depth. They have descriptions of why every card is in the deck, how to play them, what combos to make. Here we don't see that, but what you will find when you click on any deck is it shows you the breakdown. This is called like a mana curve. So it's good if you have a lot of low cost cards, or if you have low cost cards that like can taunt or control the board, and then you have higher cost minions and stuff to finish people, is there. Now you see what type, whether it's a spell, whether it's a minion, whether it's a weapon, the cost, and then you could even go over the card. It shows you a picture of the card, so it's very convenient. It's pretty awesome. But Hunter, it's just so simple. You make a lot of the standard combos. It's stupid. I don't want to show you how to make decks that everybody uses. I think those are boring. So let's go back to Hearthstone, and now I want to show you how to put together decks that to me are interesting. Not just because I use these decks. I'm just gonna click on a hero that I'm familiar with and tell you why you should put a deck together this way. So let's do that, and I'm probably going to show you a couple other decks. We'll try not to make the video too long. I see it's already about 7 minutes, but alright. So you see I have it called Perfected, even though the highest I've only ever been was rank 12. You see the curve is pretty low. I have a lot of like mid-range cards, but you could play them the first couple turns, but we'll get to that. So and let's take you back one more second, and here the maximum rank you can get for any of your heroes is 60. Now what do you get when you rank up? You get cards. As I mentioned, you have to start the game when you first get it and install it. You have to go through practice mode. It teaches you how to play. It is pretty cool, and you play as all of the heroes. So you get to like use some standard cards that they give you to begin with. You could use anyone, and you could get up to, well, you could still do it now at level 60, but it's a good way to get familiar with each of the characters. You could practice a deck style. These are the standard ones, or you could even use your constructed deck, so that's cool. And you also get experience. You rank up, as I said, so it's a good way to get every character level 10, try them out, see who you like, see what kind of cards they have. You unlock 2 of their basic cards every 2 levels, I think it is, up to 10. And then starting at 10 you get gold cards at 15, 20, and then I think 22, and then as you get higher, I think it's every rank, or at least every other rank, you get golden cards. What does that mean? One final thing before we get into deck construction here. So you see when you right click, you can't break these down because you get them from leveling up that hero. They're the standard cards. There's nothing special about them other than the fact they're gold and they have this animation. So you'll get some of those. So let's go to Mage. See, I have a lot of the gold cards because I'm at the max level. Alright. You see I don't have any Pyroblast. I don't really like that card anymore. It's 100 if you break it down because it's a rare card. Alright, but anyway. Now, let's show you how to and why to put together a deck. That's the main thing. Of course, anyone can put together a deck, but how do you put together a deck that can start winning you games? Alright, I'm sorry, one final thing. I know I keep dragging it on, but I want to get everyone watching this video, maybe you're new to the game, maybe you're just trying to get better, how to navigate the game, what you're doing, why. So you can of course do casual, test out the deck, see how it plays, learn the combos, what are good starting hands, a lot of important information you get just from playing. You get a lot of experience that way, obviously. Or you could do ranked. With ranks, you start at 25 if you've never played, and you get a star every time you win. And you get, see, when you get to like, I think rank 1, you need like 8 stars or 6 stars to rank up. For most of them, it's 3. When you get to, I think, 15, you need 4 or 5, etc., etc. So it gets harder. The good thing is it doesn't kick you in the butt right away. The first 5 levels, up to level 20, or I think 21, you can't lose any stars. And you can't rank down even if you lose a bunch in a row. At 20 you could lose stars, but you can't go back to rank 21. So if you win a few games and get up to 20, you'll at least be 20 at the end of the season, so that's cool. There's a different season every month. They'll reset the ranks. In the recent update, now that the game is officially out, how many times you rank up, they give you that many stars. So I ranked up, what is that, 9 times, but I'll get that higher. So they'll give me 9 stars. So I should start at like rank 22 or 21 instead of 25, something like that. Okay, but enough blabbing, enough introduction, enough information ideas. Now let's get into it. How to put together a successful deck. So I'm going to show you how to piece together one, and then I'm going to show you my slightly different one. And then I'll have 1 or 2 gameplays. I'll take it into ranked play, and I'll commentate a match. Why am I doing that? What is that? Why am I thinking that way? Things like that. So now, let's go. Alright, so I'm going to select mage, just aim at the max level, so I have the most cards for it anyway, and gold cards. So, a lot of people are tempted by, oh, I like that card because it won me like a game against the AI. Who cares? Or they like low-level cards, or they like certain abilities. That's fine, but you have to think fundamentally, what is the way you want to play? Do you want to be aggressive, have aggro, so low-cost guys? So let's go to neutral. I guess that's another important thing to point out. When you're making a deck, you can of course use that heroes cards, or there are neutral cards, which there are tons and tons of. A good amount of them you start with, but you see others are from packs. But we'll get to that in a second. So with the mage, a lot of people don't like the mage in competitive play, which to me is insane. To me, it's by far the best character. As you see, that's what I have max level already, in only a few weeks. So Arcane Missile, deal 3 damage, randomly spit. So I'm going to try and walk you through the philosophy of why to use this card, why not to use this card. Not for every single card in the game, but at least for the mage cards, and then some of the neutral cards I'm going to add to this deck. So, Arcane Missile, deal 3 damage, randomly split among enemy characters. Why would you use this? Yes, it's only 1 cost. If you're going against aggro decks, like say a Murloc deck, or the Hunter type, or the Warlock type that has, for some reason, this is like the most popular deck in the mid levels, anything between 20 and 10. People use Warlock, and it's one of those things on Hearthstone that I said I think is stupid. It's just tons and tons of low cost minions. So we get a lot of the Argent Squire because it has Divine Shield, you have to hit it twice. This guy, the Abusive Sergeant that gives another, no, that's stupid. Especially if you have a mage, you could just use Frostbolt, get rid of them quickly. You can use Polymorph, turn one of them into a 1/1 sheep. You can use Blizzard, do 2 damage to all enemies, and because they are the low cost guys, they generally won't have that much health. Or Flame Strike, deal 4 damage to all enemies. So you can get rid of like all of them, like 8 at once. So that's not a good strategy to me. So let's go back. So it's good to clear out some early game, but it's kind of pointless later in game. I used to use this a lot, but I'm not favorite anymore because there are so many good cards that I just think it is kind of useless in the styles I like to play. So on Hearthstone, you probably saw that a lot of people are favoring a kind of ice aggro mage. So you can use one of their standard cards. Let's scroll through, the Water Elemental. It only costs 4 and it has 6 health, so that's some good value. And it also freezes whoever you attack, whether it's a hero, whether it's a bigger minion. And then you could do something along these lines. So if a character is already frozen, you deal 4 damage instead. So that's devastating. If you hit a hero for 3 damage with the elemental and it freezes it, you then use 2 of these. So you've done 8 and the 3 damage of the elemental, 11 damage that turn. You could also couple it with their other abilities. Frostbolt, deal 3 damage and freeze a minion. There's a spell, freeze all enemy minions. So there are a lot of ice abilities that way. You see freeze a minion and the minions next to them and deal 1 damage to them. Also, freezing it's a decent stall tactic. What freezing does, if you're not familiar with it, you freeze an enemy. So if the hero you're facing has a weapon, they can't attack next turn, or a minion, it can't attack next turn for 1 turn. So that's what that does. Mirror Image is cool. Summon 2 O2s with taunt, so they can't attack, but they can defend. there are of course other cards that could switch like attack and defense or make it the same, but it's just good to throw out there early game. So in case you're facing someone with aggro, it just slows them down for a couple turns. It lets you get the board control you want. It forces them to slow down, and you have the time then to counteract anything they're doing. Mana Worm. Now, this card can be good. It really depends on what kind of deck you want. So, you see, it's only costs 1. It has 3 health, so that's good value. Whenever you cast a spell, gain 1 attack. So, the great thing to do if you're lucky, you'll have some of these 1 costs in your opening hand, including the Mana Worm. And if you go second, you get the Ring, which is it counts as a spell, and it gives you 1 extra mana that turn. So you can throw down the Mana Worm, throw down the coin, so you up to 2 attack, and then you throw down Arcane Missiles or Mirror Image, so it's already a 3/3 on your first turn, and it could really even be defended if you have those 2 together. So that's pretty awesome. But if you don't draw it in your opening hand, it could become useless. If you draw it like on turn 8, you might have already lost, or you might have already used a lot of your low-cost spells, so it might be not as good. So I avoid that. Arcane Explosion. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions is again good to deal with early game aggression, but for late game, I just don't like using this card anymore. Frostbolt, yes, 1,000 times yes. You should always have 2 Frostbolts if you're playing a mage, in my opinion. Deal 3 damage to an enemy character and freeze it. So that could be a hero. It could of course always help with early game aggression. It could even help later games. Say they summon like one of these epic beasts, like a core hound, or well, he can't attack, but anything like these, you can then freeze it so it can't attack, and then you could either hit it with like a fireball or kill it some other way while it can't attack the next turn. So that's pretty awesome. Alright, so let's throw in the Mirror Image. Now, when you're constructing a deck, the big thing is, okay, I like this card, let's go. I like this card, let's... No, you don't want to do that. It's great to have cards you like that you know how they play, but you have to think, like, philosophy-wise, do they work well together? So I, again, like both of these to control the early game, get everything my opponent's trying to do off the board, so I can then build toward what I want to do. Now, the Kirin Tor Mage, it only costs 3 and it's a 4/3. That's awesome. Also, the next secret you play that turn costs 0. So I used to couple this with Vaporize. When an enemy attacks your hero, destroy it. So they might not know that that's that secret, and they attack with like Leroy Jenkins, the 6/2. So they're trying to finish you. Nope, it's destroyed. It does nothing. So that's awesome. I've encountered some very frustrating mages to play against that use every secret they have. As soon as your hero is attacked, gain 8 armor. When your opponent plays a minion, summon a copy of it, etc., etc. I don't. I don't like secrets, but I do like using this card for itself. 2 reasons. 1, it's awesome for its value at a 4/3, and 2, it might make your opponent think you are going to be dropping these secrets. So they oh crap, maybe I should throw down these minions sooner than I thought. Maybe I should attack. Maybe I shouldn't attack this turn. Maybe they will be using that secret. Anything like that. So I think psychologically wise, it can mess with your opponent. Now, Fireball, Polymorph, I would pretty much say in 100% of mage decks I would always use these. Fireball deals 6 damage. So let's say you're at turn 8 and you're playing an aggressive mage style. That's 12 damage you could do with just 2 fireballs. That's awesome. And then if you've already whittled them down, that might already end the game. Polymorph is out of this world good. The only other thing that's even better than that is is it the Shaman? Yeah, the Shaman has the spell Hex. It only costs 3, and it turns a minion into an 0/1 with Taunt. So that's awesome. It's an 0/1. This can obviously still attack, but it's a 1/1. So what is so great about this? Even if they summon like a special card like Ragnaros or something with Divine Shield and Taunt, it doesn't matter. Even if it has that stuff, it just turns it into a 1/1. So every good effect that they thought they were going to get out of it is gone. So that's awesome. It's very good for that. You don't want to use it early in the game unless you're about to lose and there's like a 4-4, you want to get rid of that. If you're desperate and you need to use it. Otherwise, you want to save that for late game in case they play one of those big creatures and you can just get rid of it. Fireball, it's great to, again, control the board, get rid of big creatures your opponent has, or keep them on the defensive. Use it even early on, your 4th turn. Hit them with a fireball. Oh crap, maybe it's an aggro deck. Maybe I have to change up how I'm playing. So it's kind of like poker. A lot of ways in playing Hearthstone. You want to make your opponent think you're playing a certain way. And then, oh god, maybe they're not. I don't know what to do. So they try and switch up how they're used to playing. So that always benefits you. Now, Water Elemental, again, great value, great effect. It's hard to deal with. You could play it early. Opponents usually feel compelled to deal with it early. So if you're in like a mage versus mage matchup, which I often am, they use a fireball on it. So I think that's a waste of a fireball because it can only do 3 damage. But I like that. Now, Blizzard, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions and freeze them. Yes. So again, with the hunter who likes to play a lot of creatures, they have the hounds they bring out, things like that. The aggro warrior, aggro rogues, the miracle rogue you'll face over and over again. What is a miracle rogue? If you're not familiar with that, that's probably like the most popular deck style in the world right now, even more so than the hunter. People like that because it seems so sexy. You can win in 1 turn. What miracle rogue means, rogue has a lot of cards that let you replay a card for an effect. So say you have Leroy Jenkins, which is, let's look at it, a legendary. It only costs 4. It has charge and you could do 4 damage with it, or 6 damage with it, I'm sorry. So 6-2. So let's say you get to your 8th turn, so you have 8 mana. You can play Leroy, do 6 damage to your opponent, and then the rogue has something called Shadow Step. You can pick up one of your minions and play it for 2 costs less. So you can play Leroy 2 more times that turn. So you could do 8 damage with Leroy Jenkins that turn. They also have a card that when you use it in combo with something, when you use another card before it, you can add damage to a character. So if you play Leroy Jenkins, you could then add 4 more damage to it, do 10 damage with him. If you have 2 of that, let's say you have 10 mana in a turn, you could do 20 damage. It's 10 damage each time you play him. So it's crazy combos that way. Things with Mechanical Dragoning, there's a 2-2, and when you play it in combo, you also get a 2-1. So you can play that, get 2 guys, and then pick it back up, play it again, and you'll end up with 3 guys for that 1 card. So there's lots of crazy combos you can quickly win with. But anyway, let's get back to Mage. That's why I like having Blizzard. Gets rid of a lot of creatures, and it controls them. If it doesn't kill them, they're frozen. They can't attack next turn. Then you can deal with them some other way. You could attack them. Maybe you can then draw another Blizzard, something like that, or a Flame Strike. Now, Flame Strike, I don't like having 2 of both of these because they both cost a lot. If I'm getting to the 7th turn and I have to use multiples of these, I'm terrified because that means I'm probably going to lose. Your opponent shouldn't have that many minions, and once you use 1 of these, you shouldn't ever have need for another. Yes, of course, having 2 of them means you have a better chance of drawing 1, but I think just having 1 is fine. Alright, so mage cards, we're good. So we're only at 15 out of 30, so we have 15 neutral cards. So we really only have half our playstyle. We want to control the board, get rid of enemy cards early. We could also deal with things late game. Also, you probably want to save polymorphs for late game. I see I'm already 24 minutes into the video, but I hope this is helpful and informative. By all means, if you are still here and you enjoy it, please let me know by leaving a comment or liking the video, of course. If you have any comments of ideas you want to see me talk about in other videos, if you want me to show off the main style decks, the Hunter, the Miracle Rogue, the Control Priest, anything like that, awesome, let me know, and I'll try that out. Alright, so Wisp, oh my god, a card that costs 0, let's get it now. 1-1. Unless you're doing something where you can add like 4-4 to that, like with a Paladin, there's no point. Or if you're doing something where you could then give it taunts, no. Elven Archer, when I first started Hearthstone, I wanted to win as fast as possible, so I had, oh crap, very much an aggro deck. So I used everything with charge, and I used Elven Archer. Oh my god, my first turn I could deal 1 damage to the enemy and have a minion out there. No, it's not that great. The chicken, Enrage. Enrage means if it takes damage, it does more. So obviously you'd have to buff this some way for it to then be able to do 6 damage. So Mage doesn't really have anything that would be able to do that. Leopard Gnome is pretty cool. It only costs 1. It's a 2/1. And when it dies, it does 2 damage to the enemy hero anyway. So let's say you're facing a rogue, they might feel forced to play their hero ability, the 1/2 dagger, so they attack it. So they take 2 damage, and then they take 2 damage from it dying. So you've already done 4 damage, and you've been kind of a nuisance in the early game. But I don't really like all these low-cost creatures because again, they can be out of there so fast. Shield Bearer, no attack but 4, and it has taunt, so that's pretty cool. But if you silence it with like an owl or 0-cost card that some other heroes have, Now, a lot of these ones, so stealth, it means it can't be targeted by anything, but it can be hit by, say, they use a blizzard. It would die to that. Young Priestess, it only has 1 health. At the end of your turn, give 1 health to something else. That's pretty cool if you already have cards that protect it out there with taunt. But again, I don't really like any of these 1-cost guys. Now, the Swamp Ooze, you'll see a lot because it's awesome. There are a lot of cards like this that only cost 2 and are 3/2s. See here, and one of my all-time favorite cards. I'm going to add this anyway. Let's get that out of there. We'll get to him in a second. But now, why the Swamp Ooze? Battlecry, destroy your opponent's weapon. That is crazy. Why? You don't want to use it for, say, the rogues 1/2. It only does 1 damage over 2 turns. No, that sucks. Why would you destroy that? Let's say you're facing a warrior who has a lot of weapons, a 3/2, a 5/2. They have this crazy weapon that's a 7/1. And if you attack a minion with it, instead of it breaking, its attack goes down 1, so it becomes a 6/1. So that is an effective way for them to deal a lot of, get rid of a lot of minions. So if you can get rid of that by playing that, awesome. The Paladin has the crazy weapon where I think it's like a 1/6. Every time you play a minion, it gains +1/+1, and the durability goes down 1. So getting rid of that is great. You don't really want to play this by itself unless you know you're facing someone that doesn't have a weapon. Say the Warlock, another Mage. So it is good. I maybe always have 1 just in case, maybe not 2. The Raptor is good, but it's a beast. We already have some 3/2s. Beasts are good for Hunter or Druid, who have things that work on beasts. So charge, give minions. This is another thing that's in all of those Warlock decks with tons of minions. The Ironbeak Owl, you'll see a lot. Silence a minion. So again, if you face like a legendary card, like let's think of an example, a good one. The Paladin. The guy is, I think, a 6/6 with Divine Shield, Taunt, all of these different abilities. So if they play him and then it becomes your turn, you're sitting on this, bam. He doesn't have Divine Shield, he doesn't have Taunt, and you could just attack by him. You can attack him directly now. So it is pretty awesome that way. I don't like using it because I don't like being patient. I like trying to control the game. Being on the attack, yes, this does help you control the game later. Doesn't let your opponent do what they want. If they have a minion with taunt, you can just get rid of that. But I don't know. You might want to use it, depends on the playstyle you're going for, but for the deck we're working on right now, no. So some decent stuff here, no. A lot of mages, for some reason, use everything that gives you spell damage +1, but why the hell would you do that? Obviously you're a mage, so they are going to try and target and destroy those quickly. I don't think there's any point in doing that. Yes, you can combo that. Yeah, it's good value. You have 4 health. No, I hate that philosophy. Harvest Golem is an interesting card. It costs 3. It's only a 2/3, but when it dies, it also becomes a 2/1. so it comes back as a 2/1. So that's interesting. I like usually using one or two of those, depending on the deck. Now, 4/2 with stealth is pretty cool. 3/3 with taunt, eh. You'll see a lot of Shattered Sun Cleric. Give a friendly minion 1/1, and it's a 3/2. It's alright. Charge 3/1. This is one of the more common cards for any deck. It only costs 4 and it's a 4/5. Yeah, there's no special abilities, but that's good value, and it's a good low cost, decent minion to have out there, because a lot of spells can't deal with it quickly. Now, Defender of Argus. Give adjacent minions plus 1/1 and taunt. I love this card. But it really depends. Like, if you're using a lot of little guys, there might not be a reason to have this. Yeah, you force your opponent to attack them by giving them taunt, but I like using it in combination with like a 4/5 and a 4/3. Oh, it really buffs them up. So it really depends on the kinds of minions you want in your deck. So instead of that, let's add another Yeti. Alright, Leroy Jenkins, I pretty much always like using. Quickly do 6 damage. It's like having a fireball. Yes, you do summon 2 1/1s for your opponent, so it might be good to sit on it, use that, and then like Blizzard in, say, your 10th turn. Or, of course, the alternate to that is using the do 1 damage to all enemy minions, so when you have 6 mana, you can play Leroy and get rid of the 1/1s right away. I don't like any of this stuff. I'm not going to talk about every card. This is pretty decent. Spell damage plus 1 and draw a card. But again, I told you I don't really like doing that. Now, Faceless Manipulator is a very interesting choice. Yes, it costs 5. It's only a 3/3. It would only become a 3/3 if you don't select anything. But Battlecry, you choose an enemy choose any minion and become a copy of it. So you can become another water elemental. If you use one of these big legendaries, you can become another Ragnaros the Fire Lord. So even if they have like a Polymorph or Hex, you'd still have another one. So that's pretty cool. If they play their legendary, you can become that. So it has a lot of interesting choices. That is something you want to sit on and only use when you really need to. This card's pretty good. Nightblade, do 3 damage to enemy hero, and it's a 4/4. It's really good for aggro decks. I don't want to be that aggro. Spell damage plus 1, 6. Charge and Divine Shield. Pretty cool. Another good value, 6/7 for 6. It's pretty awesome. Do 2 damage. Some good board control here. Nothing too great. 6/5 with taunt is always nice. Restore 4 health to hero. Charge. I love this card. Taunt and Divine Shield. So they have to attack it, and the first time anything hits it, whether they have to waste a spell, whether it's getting rid of a minion, doesn't do anything. That's what Divine Shield does. You have to hit the shield, and they'll take the 4 damage, and then they have to hit it again. Black Knight is a legendary, so you might not have all of these legendaries unless you've been playing for a long time, or you bought packs of cards and you've been able to luckily get one, or break down cards to get the dust. So if you don't have the legendaries, again, don't worry about it. You can still win. So Sunwalker, let's add one of those. No, that's actually. So you could always then check, okay, so let's look at this curve. Oh, you can't go into it. So I have 2 1s, 5 2s, 3 3s, 8 4s, so maybe I want to add more early game things. But your first couple turns, if you've ever watched competitive games, it's crazy. Like, they don't even play anything many times until like the 5th turn. They want to have like 10 cards. They want to wait to do crazy combos, or they want to see what their opponent does and react to that. I don't like that. So I'm really fine with having a few low cards and then worrying about mid-game getting a good board out there. So Ragnaros is awesome. If you ever want to make a legendary, I'd probably first go Leroy, who's totally nuts, do the 6/2, or Ragnaros. He can attack at the end of your turn, deal 8 damage to a random enemy minion, or enemy. So ideally you want to use that after you've cleared the board. Your opponent doesn't have any minions, so then every turn will do 8 damage to the enemy hero. Of course, you could then silence that, which means it would become an 8/8 that can attack, but then it wouldn't have that ability anymore. A 7/5 with stealth, pretty cool. Give all the minions 1/1, but it costs 7. I don't know. Asira, at the end of your turn, draw a dream card, another legendary. What is a dream card? I think there are 5 or 6 different ones. They're pretty awesome and they're good value cards. But your opponent will try and... It has 12 health, so it's hard to deal with, but I don't really like using that. Again, I don't like getting to the late game and playing things like that. So, alright, let's go back a bit. If we want to play kind of an aggro mage, maybe let's do some spell damage. Another great thing, a 4/3 that silences a minion. So that's pretty cool. Again, deal with guys. If we're not going to use the owl, maybe this is a good option to go with. Maybe we will use the Defender of Argus then, because now we've added a bunch more minions. Shattered Sun Cleric, it could help buff up any of these guys, so let's add one of them. Alright, so let's look at our curve. So a lot of 4, still not too much in the early game, so let's go for more of these good value low cards. Maybe we'll add the other ooze. And maybe we'll go with a leopard gnome just to switch it up. Again, maybe show some early aggression, make your opponent mad, make them have to deal with it. Alright, so there we go. We put together this deck. Now, how in the world are we going to play it? You want to try and have, to me, cards that are under 4 or less in your opening hand, ideally all of them. But it really depends on the matchup. Say you're facing a warlock and you know, oh god, they might be using tons of creatures, and you get a blizzard, you might want to keep it then. So you know by turn 6 you can clear the board, or at least deal with it effectively at that point. So let's just call this test, and let's go play a couple games. So I know the video is already 37 minutes. I will add timestamps, but if you're already at this point, you don't know that. Let's do this. So let's just take it in. And let's just do casual for right now. I almost went in with my warrior. But okay, let's do test. Alright, so again, we want to try and have cards that are under 4 or less in our opening hand. Let's see who we face. We'll try and analyze the matchup. I'll go over card by card. Why am I doing this? Why am I not doing this? What do I think my opponent's doing? And how do I know that? So let's go. If we could find a game. You might have seen the daily challenge. For me is win 5 matches with mage, or I think it was shaman. You might have noticed when I went to the challenge screen, in the top right of the challenge is an X. If you don't play as those characters, if you don't like that challenge, say it's cast 40 spells, and you don't use spells, you can click that X and it switches it out to one other challenge. You can only do that once a day with one challenge. You can't just keep switching it out so you get one you like. But anyway, alright, so again, we want to use that late game. We're facing a druid. Often they use high level cards. They have an 8/8 with taunts. They have some 5/5s. They have the 4/4 or 4/6 with taunt. So we probably want to have an elemental. A 3 is fine, but we don't want to have 2 elementals, and we don't have any need for that yet. So let's get rid of those. Oh lord. So 1 blizzard and then a low level card would have been fine, but 2 blizzards, that's just really unlucky. But we'll see what we can do. Oh, flying dick, nice. There is a bird I think called dick, but anyway. Alright, so we could use this and then use that to do 1 damage, but why the hell would you do that? We want to try and establish the board. We want to maybe see what he's going to do, so let's play this. Of 2 O2s. Maybe he sees, oh god, he has gold cards, he's a high level mage, he knows what he's doing. So a lot of poker moves again, poker psychology. You got to think, how can you force your opponent to think differently, play differently? Okay, so Wild Growth, gain an empty mana crystal. There are several cards that a druid has that are like that. I played druid pretty extensively. I think I'm a level 30, so I know this style. I've even used this style. So he might be going for something like use Enervate, which costs 0, but you get 2 more mana crystals that turn. So he might be trying to play something big early on. So maybe it's good we have Blizzard. Maybe it's good we can throw that down. So we could throw this down and use that. They also have a 4-cost spell called Swipe, which does 4 damage to a guy and then 1 damage to all others, so we can quickly get rid of that. This, however, can't be targeted by spells or their ability, so let's get him down. So he has no way to get rid of this right now. He could do 1 damage if he swipes this for some reason. Okay, so 3-5. We have no immediate way to deal with that. Okay, now we do. So I was going to say we could throw down a coin and get him down. You don't want to just trade and get him down to 2 health. He might have some way. One of his cards gave us +2/2 in taunt, things like that. So I like getting rid of these guys as quickly as possible. So let's use a fireball. Sorry for hearing the phone. And attack. Okay. Now, it always worries me when someone plays this card because it sucks. It's a 2/7, right? So there isn't much you could do. Yeah, it could just keep consistently doing 2 damage. Maybe he's using it to clear these. But I always worry that they're going to use that 3-cost card that gives minions on either side taunts, or the Defender of Argus, which we looked at, that gives 1/1 in taunt. So I don't want to blow the polymorph. He might not be doing anything like that. So now, if I don't attack one of these guys, of course he'll be able to at least get rid of both of these next turn. So I might want to use this, but then that's all I could do, and that's not efficient. I would still have 2 mana that I then can't use on anything else. So I'm going to go with this and attacking again. Keep the aggression up a bit. Oh my god, I better not have just wasted this whole video. I just realized I still had the game volume coming through. I hope it wasn't too loud in the mic. Oh my god. We'll see. You might never see any of this, or you might be laughing if you got to this point. Alright, so we could play this and that. Just get some more minions down, but then he'd be able to do 8 damage next turn to me, which isn't too bad. Next turn we could use one of these, which would get rid of that, make him only 2 health. Alright, so if I use this, I'd have 1 mana that I'm not utilizing, but I would get rid of that. Alright, I think I'm going to do this. Play a 4/3, and then attack him. Why? Because it's his biggest guy, and then get rid of it. I'm still worried he's going to give other things taunt. Yes, now I can kill it with that, but I think that's a decent trade-off. Or he could do damage, and he would take 3, and then I could kill that. So there's a lot of good things that I think can come from that. Okay. And that's the other benefit of him attacking that, because now he's also frozen. Oh, interesting. He didn't even attack my guy. Alright, now, another thing you want to keep track of is how many cards your opponent has. So he only has 3. And if he's being that aggressive, maybe he's trying to work toward a big combo. So we really want to control the board right now. So yes, I could use a polymorph, make sure he doesn't do anything or get rid of that, and then play that. I could play both minions and get my side of the board up. But since we have 2 of these, and I'm kind of worried what might happen, let's keep that guy frozen, let's get rid of the other, and let's do 4 damage. Get him down the next one. really hope I didn't waste this whole video by having the volume on that whole time from my laptop and the mic was picking it up. I feel like such an idiot.
My shield for Argus.
Alright, so there's what I was worried about. Him having defensive Argus.
Tazdingo.
Okay, so this guy's gone total desperate mode. He has no cards left. He's thrown all of that down as his last ditch effort. So, yes, we wouldn't kill anything he has right now, but we'd freeze them all, make them all pointless, and he has nothing he can do about it. He has nothing to attack with right now. So I only have 3 health, so if I attack any of these things, I'll die. Right now, I think, though, that's a good trade-off. And why is that? Because then next turn, I could use this, and I can get rid of any one of them. And then I could play some minions. Alright, so his ability, he gets 1 armor, and he can use 1 attack. Alright, interesting. Now, that's gonna, of course, change up what we're gonna do. Ooh. I was gonna say let's use the polymorph, but nope. Bam. So now he's 1, we can get rid of that next turn with one of these. So yes, he will be able to do 5, and then if he uses his ability, which he probably will, 6 damage to me next turn. I'll still have 10 health, and he'll basically be out of minions. So, So, of course I don't want to sacrifice that, just make it 1, save myself 2 health. So let's just play this. I could have played one of these, but that's not, again, the best value. I still have 4 crystals left to play with, so I might as well use them on the bigger minion. So if I use him to attack one of them, they'll die and I'd still be alive.
Ready for action.
Another thing I've noticed in watching a lot of the pro or more popular player streams, they play very, very, very slow, which I don't understand. So you see I'm talking about all the decisions. These are usually just what I'm thinking about, and I try and move quickly. I'm thinking while they're going what I'm already going to do to stop it. So when it gets to your turn, I don't like just sitting here think, no, you should know what you're doing. But alright, that's just my 2 cents. Alright, so now we could stop there. Alright, but let's look at now the value. How are we going to do this? Of course, get rid of him. That's what we have to do. We definitely want to then get rid of that. I still have 10 health. He could still draw something that the other Starfire does 5 damage to me and draw a card, so I don't want to let him be able to do 5 damage. Let's play this so he can't go through them, even if he has a swipe. He also, the Druid does have a card that does 5 damage to 1 minion or 2 damage to all enemy minions. Now we still have 6, so we could actually play both of these, which is good. But let's get rid of the guy with the most attack, and still have 3. So there we go. He can't even get rid of, well, if he uses his ability, he can get rid of both of these, but he wouldn't be able to attack me. I can easily get rid of these guys next turn, and then the board's clear, he has no cards, and minions. Meanwhile, I'll still have a few guys. Alright, so I'm at 9 health. He is technically 22 right now, so he probably thinks it's looking pretty good for him. It's not. So I have 10 mana. Now, of course I could use this other one, make him even less, but no, there's really no point. Alright, so let's do that. He wouldn't die if I do this. Same here, so we're fine. And now we still have another polymorph in case he draws an 8/8. In case he draws some awesome guy. Alright, interesting. So, of course, again, we can use the polymorph on it, but that seems kind of a waste. We can attack with the golem. Yeah, it only does 2. We could then use that. He would die, but he would become the 2/1. we still have this in case he uses something really, really big. So we have to do 14 damage. Of course, you could use that to attack one of these, but he would also then take damage. Oh, God. Alright, so next turn. Alright, I'm going to have 3 health. Oh, he didn't attack. That was weird. Alright, so I could do 4, 7, 10, 12, 13 damage right now. If he got a swipe, I lost. So we might lose our test game, which would be very unfortunate. If he's not able to kill me next turn, if he doesn't have an ability or something with charge, he won. He only has 2 health, but I only have 4. So let's hope he doesn't have one of the few cards he can beat me with right now.
Well played.
Nope, you said well played. I lost. Oh. Oh, he's frozen. He can't attack. Oh, I won.
I concede.
So he conceded. There we go. We won our first game. So a very long video here. Introduction to think about how to make a deck for a character I love, Mage. If you want to see me do one of these for each of the heroes, awesome. Let me know. Please like the video. Again, comments if you like this idea, if you like this series. Hopefully this video was able to go through. I didn't mess up the audio the whole time. Thank you very, very much for watching. I am Jeff from Respawn Studios, and I should be back with more videos soon.